Hello and welcome to easyodds.com. My name is Ross Casey. I'm here with Jake Johns to do a review of the 2016 Cheltenham Festival, which for the bookies was not a good one at all. I think it was an estimated loss of £60 million as you punters went to town, and a lot of the favourites came in, and even on the day that no favourites came in on Wednesday, I think they still lost money because of tipsters like this guy, Jake Johns. So let's have a quick run through the festival, Jake, starting with the champion hurdle.
So the champion hurdle was an interesting race, but a minefield to tip on. I couldn't really get my head around it at all. I ended up falling on the new one just because of course form, and I thought maybe he might be coming back to something like near his best in a pretty poor renewal of the race. But he disappointed, to be honest. He ran his race, but it wasn't really good enough. It was another great training performance from Nicky Henderson, one of many throughout the week on My 10 or Yours. He finished second, a really, really gallant second as well. And brilliant from Andy Power. Those guys again, Rich Ritchie and Willie Mullins. She drifted to 9-4 on the day, which was pretty tempting. Unbelievably great ride from Ruby. There was a moment when she was coming towards the last where you thought, oh God, here we go again, just going to smash into it. But he absolutely pinged it. He saw a perfect stride, absolutely pinged it. It was such a brilliant jump. Just the bottle to do that just shows you how great a jockey he is. It was unbelievable. It was a really, really nice ride. And she was giving the allowance away, but it was still a decent ride. It was definitely up there with a good, great champion hurdle performance from her.
And as you say, it's kind of ironic that Annie Power was one of the horses that cost the bookies, as last year it was actually the saving grace.
Exactly, it probably cost them quite a bit of money as well. And then we moved on to we'll move on to the champion chase, the next championship race on day 2, which showed probably the best horse racing moment, national hunts racing moment that I've seen in my entire life. I was there on the course. It was just ridiculous.
Did you see many grown men in tears?
I saw a lot of grown men in tears, including myself. But it was unbelievable. When Sprinter Sacco was just, he pulled up beside Underso gets headed for the first time ever, and the entire crowd at the exact same time had the same collective, Sprinter, he's gonna do it. It was just unbelievable. I mean, if you thought the training performance from Henderson on My 10 or Yours or something, this is ridiculous. I mean, he's come back. He was a former champion. He was absolutely risen from the ashes. He was nowhere last season. To come back and win a champion chase like that against Underso, who's never been beaten when he's finished. It was ridiculous. I tipped Godzone without the favourite, and Godzone ran a good race. But I think maybe I was overestimating the Arkle form last year. It didn't look good on paper, but I didn't think it was that bad. Underso actually beat Godzone by pretty much the same distance that he did in the Arkle last year, so they ran about the same. I think maybe Underso is just not suited by Cheltenham, and he's not suited by the good ground. He'll probably be a different animal over in Ireland. But I'm not saying anything. The Sprinter Sacco performance was ridiculous. Obviously, previous champion dodging bullets really disappointed way back. But no one really expected anything more from him after.
I noticed you say on Twitter that you thought maybe it's time for retirement now for Sprinter Sacco.
Sprinter Sacco? Oh no, I didn't say that. He must be thinking of someone else.
Oh really? Okay.
Yeah, but I don't know what they're going to do with him. I think they're going to run him at Sandown at the end of the year. So that'll be interesting. But I guess they could retire him at the end of the year. But if he's winning races like that still, then I don't really know why they would. But they could do. But I would probably maybe go for another crack at it next year.
Yeah.
The next championship race on day 3 was the World Hurdle, and Sprinter Sacco was probably the most emotional, most memorable moment of the festival. But Thistlecrack's performance in the World Hurdle was absolutely unbelievable. Yep. It was probably the performance of the week.
Went off at a nice price as well.
Went off at
per punters.
Absolutely ridiculous price of evens, and I think I got him at 5-4 actually. I tipped him, but I mean I'm not going to really gloat about a tip on Thistlecrack. I mean he's obviously going to win. It's probably the performance of the week. The margins between 1, 2 and 3 were absolutely insane. Mouse Morris says Alfred Des Obeaux is one of the best horses he's ever trained, and he's trained a lot of good horses, and he absolutely left him for dead. They were together going 2 out, and then he just accelerated away like he wasn't even there. Alfred Des Obeaux finished absolutely miles ahead of Bobsworth, which is another unbelievable training performance from Nicky Henderson to bring Bobsworth back and finishing 3rd in a World Hurdle. But he did finish a long way back. If Thistlecrack wasn't in the race, that would have been an incredible performance from Alfred Des Obeaux, which shows you how impressive Thistlecrack was. It was ridiculous. Colin Tizard is apparently going to take him to chasing next year, and they're going to run him in the Gold Cup as a novice. He could do a Coney Gree and win the Gold Cup as a novice, and I'm definitely not counting that out at all. I mean, that's a massive possibility. He's not as like he's not like going to be a young horse next year. I think he's going to be a 9-year-old, so he's not going to be a young'un. And if he does take to chasing, he's going to take all the beating, especially seeing as we know that he's really good at Cheltenham now after that performance and the performance on Trials Day as well. He's a monster. He's an absolute monster. He's probably the most exciting horse in training at the moment. Him and Duvan are about side by side.
Yeah.
And then we had the Ryanair, which kind of was a bit controversial because Rich Ritchie said, I was actually at a preview evening with Rich Ritchie where he said that he was either not going to take Vautour to the festival at all, or he's going to take him in the Gold Cup. There was no chance of him going the Ryanair at all. Absolutely no chance. So we kind of mugged punters off a little bit, to be honest, but anyway, Vautour, we've got a late entry, and he was another ridiculous price at 11 to 10. The thing is, with these, it's a bit weird for us tipsters and stuff, because I was trying to look for value with the outsiders throughout the week and trying to find a bit of over double-figure prices and stuff, but the value was actually in the favourites. Because all the bookmakers are so competitive at this festival, they're pricing up these favourites at crazy prices, like Vautour 11 to 10, Thistlecrack 5 to 4. I think you could get evens on Vroom Vroom Mag in the Mare's Hurdle. That was a certainty.
Hence the £60 million losses.
Yeah, it's hence the £60 million losses. Lamini at 4 to 6. That was weird. She should have been about 1 to 4, 1 to 5 in a normal. If it was a normal race, it's so competitive. They're trying to get all these punters in. That's where the value lies. But yeah, I got mugged off. Vautour got in, and he was very impressive. He looked like he did in the JLT last year. He didn't look. They were saying the vibes about him weren't good at all before the race, but he performed like an absolute monster. He stayed on very, very well, and he was massively impressive, like his JLT last year. Possibly not as impressive. He didn't win as far as he did then, but it was still really impressive. And then the next one, the big race, was the Gold Cup. Yep. And I've been.
You were bullish. I would say that you were bullish.
I would say very, very bullish about Don Cossack. I've been going on about him all year. I've been going on about him since he was about 16 to 1, down to 11 to 2. I've been backing him all the way down. And then...
What was the top price that you got as a punter?
16 to 1.
Nice.
Last year. And then I got him at 11 to 2. And then I backed him on the day even, a 9 to 4, at 5 to 2.
Just for the extra little bit.
Just for the extra little bit. But he won really well, actually, in the end. He beat Jacadam by 4 lengths, which was a brilliant performance. He made a massive mistake 4 out, actually, a pretty massive mistake, and he recovered really well. It was all about Brian Cooper, who was going to ride Don Polio, Don Cossack. Luckily, he made the right decision. He was brilliant on him. It was a great ride. You can't take anything away from it, to be honest. Yeah. There were wide margins again, so it was wide margins, but 4 lengths in second, and then I think it was 10 lengths in third for Don Polio, who was tailed off and then stayed on well because he's not a fast horse, and he just stays on well. I think the National's going to be good for him. I think they're maybe going to go Punchestown with Don Cossack. They went A-Tree last year, but I think they're going to go Punchestown Gold Cup again, see if he can regain his crown there. Q-Card was absolutely tanking 2 out or 3 out, and when he fell,
apparently that lost the bookmakers £1 million.
What, him?
One, sorry.
Oh, really?
Because he didn't win. Yeah.
I know a lot of people would have backed him. He got hammered early in the day as well. But yeah, he
was looking really good, wasn't he?
He was absolutely tanking. He was absolutely. I was massively worried about him, and I was worried about him before, to be honest, as well. I mentioned him in the other video. He was going really, really well, and it would have been close between him and Don Cossack. I'm not sure. You can't tell. It was quite far out. He was probably. You can't say that he could have been going any better at Q Card, but he was. You can't say what would happen that far out, but it probably would have been close. And I think that. Q-Card could be heading to the Aintree Bowl at Aintree, obviously, at the Grand National meeting. So that'll be interesting to see him come back after that fall. Apparently, he was fine afterwards. Colin Tizard said he was absolutely fine afterwards. So it looks a bit nasty. It looks a bit nasty, but apparently he was just kind of absolutely fine. So that's brilliant. So next we'll move on to the novice races, because we've gone through the championship races now, the main races on all the days. So the first off, we'll start at the beginning with the Supreme. The one favourite I backed, Min, pretty disappointing. His form was franked all throughout the year, but to be honest, he was categorically outclassed by Altior. Everyone was tipping Altior. I think Spotlight had him as their nap of the day. I know a few tips that had him as their nap of the week. He was meant to be flying at home, but I just couldn't have. For some reason, I couldn't have him. I think it's because it's Kempton. I couldn't know if I could convert Kempton form to Cheltenham form. But he was categorically outclassed by Altior. They both came to the last, and then Altior just absolutely powered up the hill.
Yeah.
Similar to what he did at Kempton, but with better opposition behind him, obviously. So Min was behind him. I think what they're going to do with Altior, I think they're going to keep him to hurling. So champion hurdle bid will be very interesting against Forheen next year, and all the Mullins horses coming back. But they might. I don't know what they're doing.
Of course, we'll have the prices for on our Antipost odds. If you go to Easy Odds Racing and then Antipost, you'll find all the Antipost races, whether it be Cheltenham race or a little race at like Sandown.
yeah. We got all the 2017. A lot of 2017 prices have already come through, and they're showing that Min is pretty short for the Arkle actually. Well, he's not short. He's not favourite actually, but he's more likely to go chasing than he is hurdling next year. And Altior's more likely to go the hurdle route. So that'll be interesting. Next up, we have the Neptune, where York Hill turned over Yanworth, and I was actually on Yanworth as well. I thought, I was really thought Yanworth was going to win. His form throughout the year has been unbelievably well. I wrote quite an extensive article on him, where I actually tipped Yanworth and York Hill. York Hill at 8-1, which was a really nice price on the day. But to be honest, I thought Yanworth was going to win. I wasn't sure York Hill was going to run at that point. That's why I got him at 8-1. But on the day, I thought Yanworth was going to win. It was a brilliant ride from Ruby Walsh. Went round the inside the whole way. Absolutely stunning, perfect ride from him. Couldn't be more. He was absolutely perfect all week. He's unbelievable jockey, one of the best of all time. Not so much good ride from Barry Geraghty. Went round the outside, lost a lot of ground. Gave around the inside to no one. It was disappointing, to be honest. But I think he was really confident on him, so that was why maybe he went around the outside. Alan King's in terrible form, and he's still in better circumstances. Maybe the result would have been different. But the King form was definitely not firing at the time. I think that definitely had a bearing on what happened. York Hill, interestingly, is probably going to go chasing next year. He's currently favourite for the Arkle, so. That's it. That's really interesting. He could be an absolute monster, couldn't he? The form of his Tolworth at Sandown is ridiculous. He's already beaten Yanworth. What kind of chaser is he going to be? He's going to be an absolute beast. We'll move on to the Arkle next. It was kind of pretty obvious. Duvan won. Duvan runs. Duvan won. I saw it. I think someone put a £200,000 bet on the track or something. That was unbelievable. It was
220 grand.
So he made like 90 grand back. Nice 8 grand for nothing. It's like a cash machine. He was obviously going to win as long as he stayed up. He jumped fine. I had quite a big bet, and I tipped Sizing John without the favourite. He came in well. I tipped him at 11-4.
11-4 was he? Got
him at 11-4. That was a really, really nice price actually, because I think he was quite likely to come second. Vaneto obviously came down, but I think Sizing John was staying on anyway. So that was decent. That was a nice little.
You pretty much read that race perfectly.
Yeah, that was a nice little win on day one. And next up we had, I'm going to quickly touch on the RSA, where Black Lion was a nice winner, beat a decent field as well. That was one of the best races of the week. I honestly, to be honest, I did not think Black Lion was going to win at all. I mean, he's got some good form around Cheltenham, but not brilliant.
I saw you tweeted on the day to up hunter that he was good each way value there.
Yeah, I thought he was good for a place maybe. I backed him at a place because I thought I think he's like. Maybe just not good enough. Maybe just not top class, and this had more of that in. Who I thought was absolutely untouchable. I thought he was really, really top class. Apparently, they found something amiss with him later on, so that might be a bit of a problem. Okay. Jonjo had a winner the day before, but he wasn't in brilliant form. He hasn't been in brilliant form all year. But I think I think more of that can definitely perform better than he showed there. Hopefully, on another day, he'll be back and performing well again.
Yep.
I'm assuming they'll be going Gold Cup next year, because I think that's what Jonjo wanted to take him to this year, but luckily they didn't. And that was that was the start of a good day for Nigel Twiston-Davies, who also won the flat race at the end of the day, the champion bumper. Brilliant performance from Ballyandy. Ended up winning by a nose. Was pushed along round the bend. Great ride as well from Sam Twiston-Davies. Absolutely brilliant ride, and he won well ahead of a decent Mullins horse as well. Who are they again? I can't remember what it's called at the moment anymore. Battle for it was called actually. I think he's going to go chase. He's up there for the Supreme next year.
Okay.
So the Supreme first and second favourite are actually the first and second in the champion bumper race, which is kind of unsurprising, I guess. And I can't go without talking about the brilliant Victoria Pendleton throughout the year.
Yep.
She had never been on a horse a year ago. She fell at Fakenham, which she got widespread criticism from a lot of people. A lot of people said she shouldn't ride in the Fox Hunters, it's dangerous. Those journalists also got quite a lot of stick as well for saying that. But she won next time at Wincanton, and then she ended up going to the Fox Hunters and rode an insane ride on the inside at the back, held up. I was just thinking, whoa, my God, are you crazy? What are you doing? But she had a brilliant race, stayed on into 5th. She was going really, really well down the straight as well. She can't ride at Aintree for the Fox Hunters there because she's not qualified, but I can't talk about that race and talk about Victoria Pendleton without talking about how good Nina Carberry's ride was on the fringe. She couldn't have got to the front any sooner. It was an absolutely perfectly timed ride, once again, from an absolute master in these amateur races. She's a monster. She's an absolute beast. And also, just a quick one on the free mares, Richie Mares and Mullins. Lamini bolted up like she was always going to in the novice mares hurdle. Vroom Mag bolted up in the mares hurdle, and Annie Power won the champion hurdle. So that was a nice little treble. That probably lost the bookies a ton of money as well. And I don't know whether we'll go next year. Vroom Mag could go anywhere because she's a chaser as well. Interesting to see. I think Lamini's actually going to go to the flat. They're going to try and get a group race into her in the flat. So I don't know what they're going to go for. I know that Ruby Walsh really, really fancies her as a flat horse. Okay. So she might be a bit too valuable to run in the mares hurdle next season. But I assume that if she goes anywhere, that's where she'll go, and she might face Annie Power again because they probably won't run Annie Power against Forheen in the champion. But yeah, that's pretty much everything, Ross. I think I've covered as much as possible. Yeah.
Well, I hope that you enjoyed listening to Jake's review of Cheltenham Festival and also his previews along with Paul Jacobs and Andy Newton. We will be doing weekly horse racing YouTube videos with myself and Jake moving forward, probably looking at the Antipost big race of the weekend as well as some of the other races on Channel 4 and beyond. So make sure that you stay subscribed to our channel for those. Also, we'll be having plenty of Euro 2016 videos moving forward towards the summer, so make sure that you stay subscribed for those also. And of course, we have now launched our new website, easyodds.com. So make sure that you get on there and get your horse alerts, so you get an email every time that your stable horses ride. You'll get your email saying where they're running, their current form, who they're running up against, and what else does Easy Odds offer? Off the top of my head, I'm trying to think.
Lots of free bets, lots of offers.
Yeah, lots of free bets, lots of offers, as well as the Easy Odds app, which is available now. Also, we've just launched a Grand National app, which is a real basic app, which is going to have just the Grand National.
The Grand National made easy.
The Grand National made easy with Easy Odds. Yeah, it's just going to have the odds of each of the horses that have been declared leading into the race, but also all of them now currently. So there's around like 80 odd horses to take your choice from. Mm-hmm. So we'll have our Easy Odds rundown of that soon with Jake, with a preview and a tip, which I'm sure will be a winning tip because that's what Jake does. And thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week for the first of the Jake Johns Antipost /weekend horse racing videos. All the best.